something like this happens.
We'll wait for, I think Fox has got to get some stuff ready, and then
He's gonna make that mic go full.
you guys ready, Fox? Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Tim Beatty, B-A-T-Y. I am the airport director at the Muncie, Delaware County Regional Airport. I know a lot of you guys have spoken with several people today, and we said we would provide an update around 3:30. So at approximately 10:24 a.m. this morning, a Piper Cherokee aircraft that was en route to Muncie from the Bloomington Airport crashed just west of the airport, about approximately a half mile off of our runway 3 approach. The pilot was the sole occupant of the aircraft and was transported IU-BMH by the City of Muncie Fire EMS Department. 2 bystanders who were on the Greenway, which is a walk trail, were also injured during this accident. They were also transported IU-BMH. At this current time, the airport authority doesn't have any update on those conditions. We'll turn that over to the fire department and EMS later. The Delaware County Sheriff's Department, the City of Muncie Police Department, Muncie Fire Department, Muncie EMS, Delaware County EMS, the Airport Crash Fire Rescue Department, and Hamilton Township Fire Department all responded to this accident this morning. No properties were damaged, no buildings, and no other bystanders. Currently, the FAA and the NTSB out of Indianapolis they've been up here and investigated it, and they will have any further information on the cause or circumstances involving this accident. I'm going to turn it over to the Muncie Fire Department. They can give you an update on the response and any information they have on the EMS patients at this time.
Thank you. Chief Dan Burford, City of Muncie Fire Department. As Mr. Beatty said this morning, we responded to a report of an aircraft crash. Initial calls came in for the airport address, and county units were dispatched with new information coming in. Addresses were updated, and city resources were dispatched as well. We responded with a truck, an engine, a heavy rescue, and 3 ambulances. Delaware County EMS responded with EMS units as well. And then we had fire units from the rural communities that responded with us as well. The pilot was entrapped in wreckage upon arrival, and we had to use cutter spreaders and a ram to extricate the pilot from the aircraft. The individuals on the railway were not entrapped in any way. They received rapid EMS care and were transported. So I can let EMS Chief Miller speak to the EMS response on this.
Muncie Fire Department, in conjunction with Delaware County EMS, we moved a total of 3 patients to IUMH. As of last update, 2 of those patients were considered to be in serious condition and were likely being transferred to Indianapolis area hospitals. I do not have an update on the 3rd patient at this time.
And we'll leave it, that's our statement, and we'll take questions for a few minutes.
The two people transferred, were they the folks walking or the pilot? It was the pilot, either of the two?
All three patients were transported by
Right,
EMS.
excuse me, so going to the Indianapolis hospital, who's going there? The people that were walking, or is the pilot among them, or?
The pilot was one of the people listed in serious condition. I would assume, but I did not have which patients were being transferred to Indianapolis.
Okay.
How hard was it to access, was it difficult to access the wreckage to get this person out, or was it pretty easy to get there, or what was that?
Well, the patients were on the Cardinal Greenway, which is a paved fitness, track, if you will. So units were able to access them. There's been some work going on the airport property, and they had construction mats down for heavy equipment, which fire apparatus and ambulances were also able to pull right down alongside the wreckage of the airplane. So there was no major obstacles to overcome to gain access to the individuals.
Any indication of whether there was a fire before or after the crash?
I'm guessing I'll let Mr. Beatty speak to that. but
So upon arrival, the airport fire rescue and the Muncie Police Department were one of the first arriving units on scene. There was a fire after the initial crash on both debris and the main body of the aircraft tail. AEP employees, the work going on at the airport right now is electric work and infrastructure work being done by Indian American Power. They extinguished the fire with their extinguishers that they had on their utility trucks. Upon our arrival, there was no fire. They had already extinguished it.
Was there a mayday from the pilot at any point? Or was this a normal landing? Can you speak to that?
There was no communication of an emergency from the aircraft. The aircraft was en route from Bloomington and was landing on runway 14. At some point, he decided he was going to circle back and basically missed approach, circle back, and this is what happened.
So
That's all we have right now.
he missed the approach
Yep.
the first time around? Okay. Do you know, I don't know, are you familiar with the pilot? Is he?
The pilot is not local to Muncie.
Was the weather similar to now, like that point in the day?
That will be a question for the NDSB, but I believe it's similar.
Do we know who owns the aircraft at this time?
We do not.
Sorry, clarifying question. So you talked about the construction workers and how they had, they took out the fire, then upon arrival there was no fire. So who exactly put out the fire and like that kind of timeline? Of, like,
The initial bystanders, the Indiana AEP crew was on scene and they extinguished the fire in 2 different locations, which was very small.
The people on the walking trail, can you say kind of the nature of their injuries? We've heard minor, we've heard possibly burns from, the plane coming down, that kind of thing.
I can't speak specifically to those patients. I can say generalize that there were patients that suffered burns and other types of traumatic injuries consistent with a wreckage with some type of fire involved.
Is it believed that they were actually hit by the aircraft, or they just, when it caught fire and shrapnel went places, or I don't know if you know that?
I don't believe we know that. We're in the middle of 2 impacts, so we don't have a good answer on that.
When you say middle of 2 impacts, one piece of the aircraft or another?
Yeah, so the aircraft, when it made its approach, impacted trees on the west side of the greenway and on the east side of the greenway.
Did it land in the trees?
It did not.
Okay. So did it land physically on the trail?
It landed in a field east of the field.
You guys ever had, when's the last time a crash happened here?
We have not had a serious injury crash for over 20 years at this airport.
Anything else we didn't ask you guys?
Will cleanup continue right now, or how long will anybody be out there?
The NTSB has been on site, and the FAA Flight Standards office out of Indianapolis. They have called for a salvage crew to come and secure the aircraft and take it back to Indianapolis. That is supposed to happen within the next few hours.
Do you know a timeline of when the entire investigation will, some of that reporting will come out?
No, it could be months. Any more questions? All right, we will be done.
Thank you.
Thank you.